Yes, and now before even I comment about that, allow me to mention something regarding your previous question.
Yes.
Because you're saying there are people who are not, you do it repeatedly again, and maybe you are showing remorse, it's okay, but you're doing it repeatedly. One, for people already married, then married, in marriage, it will take some time, of course, it will take effort, but they should address it. But if you're in a relationship and somebody is either cheating on you and doing all these things behind your back, and you know and you see, don't wait for another sign. Just leave at that moment, because you know that there is this notion people get, like, let me get married to him, I will change him. Now, it's not your business to change anybody's life. Changing your life alone is very hard. So don't go in this with this notion of he will change along the way, she will change along the way. And there is one thing I tell people: when someone shows you who they are at the very first time, believe them. Don't buy time at they will change along the way. Just believe them. The way they have shown you, if they can be unfaithful to you during the engagement, then there is nothing that you're going to do when you get married for them to be better or to improve. So coming to this about being self-aware. Self-awareness is a journey, and particularly in this case, you know, we have grown up in a society, in an environment whereby we have not been taught to be aware of ourselves. What do I mean? You've been brought up by maybe a parent who wants to reflect themselves in you. You know, there is a life they never lived. There is what they expected to achieve in life, they never achieved. So they push their kids to be. So by the time you're growing up, you're a replica of somebody else's dream. You have grown up in a society that has been telling you, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You know, you have grown up in an environment of instructions. You're just a mechanical being, being told, do this, do that, do this, do that. You are never given a chance to discover yourself. So understanding yourself begins first with self-discovery. You have found yourself there, you're already there, maybe you're already in marriage, or you're in this serious relationship, you have gotten to this far. First thing is you open up yourself to self-criticism first. Criticize yourself, the decisions you make, you know, the choices you make, places you go, all these things that you do. Be open to self-criticism. Number two, be open to criticism from other people. Don't lock yourself out and in defense, and when people tell you you're doing this wrong or you're not getting this right, you go into fight. Be open to criticism. And then number three, be open to improvement. Once you realize there is an issue, there is a problem, maybe how I relate with people is not very good. My social skills are poor. You know, my decision-making skills or my ability to make decisions without impairment is low. How I control my anger, my temper, and all these things is not really how I should be doing. Then work on it. Work on improving it. I normally tell people life is about commitment. Not only commitment to the other party that you're with, maybe in a relationship or in a marriage, but also commitment to yourself. Commitment to improve, commitment to become better, and commitment to grow. If you're not committed to those, to improving yourself and to growing, then again, it becomes an issue because you will never discover yourself. You might be aware of yourself at one stage, but remember, as you say, life is a moving target. Things are changing. So as life is changing, how am I changing my self-awareness? Am I aware of the changes? Am I aware of the processes that are going inside within me and what I'm going through? So it's a continuous process. There is no point that you can reach and say, I'm fully aware of myself, so I don't want any other engagement in terms of self-awareness.
And maybe just one other thing. Maybe could you comment on the fact that some couples or some people individually argue that maybe the way that I behave in relationships is based on how I saw my parents do, or the marriage or family setup at home growing up, right? Yeah. And sometimes they are locked and tied to that, and others don't actually know maybe that might be the cause, whereby you find perhaps growing up they were raised by a single parent. It could have been a mom who was trying to find relations, a stable relationship, and unfortunately was meeting a few men here and there, and that affected this particular individual who has now grown up and tends to think, because maybe they've lacked a father figure, and they've seen their parents in a particular light, always going and looking for something stable, they misinterpret that and see that it's okay to actually be meeting with so many different men. So maybe you can comment generally on the upbringing and the setup of, because nowadays, you know, families are not perfect. We currently see in the media every day this thing about being a baby mama is actually cool, baby daddy is actually cool, but what the effect it's going to have on that child 15, 20 years from today is something that will also affect how those relationships will turn out in the future.
One, we are really in a very challenging time when we are throwing away the very moral principles that were guiding humanity. Maybe they could be traditional or Christian or any kind of religious values, again, because of the socialization, the globalization issue. And we are picking at this point whereby people are looking at it is like, you know, I was having some discussion with the people that was telling them the social media conversation today is on who is hooking up with who is breaking up with who, and it has become a norm. And we are raising up a very dangerous generation that is growing up knowing people should break up anytime, they should hook up anytime, they should do this, you know, which should not be the right case. So coming back to how we are brought up, I will say these two things. Number one, they are bringing us a very important bearing on somebody's life. But then also number two is about how we interpret it. Because at times we'll find these situations whereby 3 children or 2 children will be brought up in the same environment, exactly the same, maybe a drunken father. One goes on to become a drunkard like their father. When you ask them, they say, I saw my dad do it. Now another one goes completely opposite and decides, I will never take alcohol. When you ask them, they say, I saw my dad do it. So how they interpret the same scenario again makes the difference.
Yeah.
So what I can say is, in as far as the environment has a wide impact, and we don't have choice of environment when we are young, how we were brought up, where we were born, we don't have choice over that. Maybe your child or my child may not have a choice of how they want to be brought up. But when you get to a point where by now we are talking about self-awareness, you've grown, you've gone to that point of you're no longer a child, nobody's making your decisions for you, you're grown up, you're an adult to make your own decisions, then you should be open to look back, make decisions, reinterpret those environments that you went through, and then of course mirror yourself with those other relationships that were working. Maybe you're brought up in a family whereby there was no love. Look at those other people that maybe their families are working well, their children are working well. Learn from them. So make a decision for yourself in as far as how you're brought up has had impact on you. Make a decision to change, of course, and decide your own course of life.
Right. Okay, so I'm being told we have only 3 minutes, and there's quite a number of comments that have been streaming in. I'll just read a couple because of time, and there's one question here. So it says, this question, I'm Alan. Thank you, Alan, for watching.